Steve, how's Andrew and Draymond doing, and what were they able to do today?
Andrew did not practice today. Draymond did. Steph did. Draymond and Steph look fine. Bogues hopefully will practice tomorrow, but we gave him the day off today, and we'll just kind of see. It's just day to day.
You don't anticipate Andrew's injury being significant going into the series, or are you not really sure?
Not really sure. Well, obviously, we're hoping that he'll be all right with these next few days to treat it, but just day by day.
Is it at the hamstring? Is it at the hamstring area?
Kind of like kind of between the groin and hamstring. It's a strain.
How do they check that and evaluate an MRI, or do they?
No MRI.
Okay.
Not that I know of. If one is planned, then we'll let you know. But as of now, I don't think there's been any imaging or anything, and just day to day.
Were you surprised with the way the OKC Spurs series played out?
A little bit. You know, I thought both teams obviously are fantastic, and I was surprised the Spurs didn't score as much as they normally do. They're a great ball movement team, and but OKC's defense was really good, and but everybody in the league knows, as talented as OKC is, when they really click, they're really good.
Steve, Portland scored a lot of points against you in certain games. I know they're volatile, but so are the Thunder. Will you have to play better defense against them than you played with Portland? And if I'm going in an okay direction, can you be somewhat specific?
It's a different type of series. We're facing different challenges, but we're absolutely going to have to play better defense. I think we're just going to have to play better overall, and I feel like we will. Obviously, we missed Steph for the first 3 games of that series, and then we were incorporating him back in. And, so we should be whole, assuming we get Andrew back. But different challenge. This is a much bigger team. Rebounding will be key. Got to get the loose balls and keep them at bay on the glass. And if you turn it over against these guys, it's a dunk for somebody. They're so athletic in transition. So we know what the challenges are, and we're going to have to be better for sure.
Steve, why do you think you guys have been so successful defending Westbrook and holding his percentage down?
I don't think there's anything that we did that was that special. I think he, for whatever reason this year, he in 3 games, which is a very small sample size, he didn't shoot it that well against us. But that doesn't mean anything going into game 1. I mean, he's obviously one of the great players in the league. He's so explosive. So who knows if we can keep him from hitting shots, because sometimes it's just about him. It's not about the defense.
Mainly Clay on Westbrook, if I remember.
Usually started Steph on him, and then Steph and Clay would kind of switch off on him, and you'll probably see both guys on him at times.
Steve, when Steph was out, you talked some about and figuring out how smoothly that would go. I mean, has it been pretty seamless the last 2 games? And
it went really well, obviously. I mean, he was much better than we could have ever hoped or expected, given the length of time that he was out. I mean, he was phenomenal in both games, showing why he was the MVP. And now it's great to get him a few days of practice, a few more days to treat the injury, and hopefully we can put this injury behind him by the time we start this next series.
With Tanner and Adams a lot. Did you see that at all in your game?
5 minutes, I think, out of the 3 games. Yeah. Well, it was only 5 minutes. It was the first game that we played them. I think it was early February. They played them in the second quarter for a few minutes together. Obviously, they've changed since our matchups. They're the first matchup or 2. They didn't start Robertson, so they started him in the last game that we played them, and now they're playing him. They're starting him, and they're playing Cantor and Adams together more. So slightly different rotations. They're obviously in a good groove. They're going to come in here with great confidence, having knocked off the Spurs. So, yeah, we got to be ready.
Steph and Westbrook obviously are very different players, but do you see a similarity in the fact that do you agree that they can kind of do things that just almost make your eyes bug out sometimes?
Yeah, but very different from each other.
Mm-hmm.
But they both have the ability to dominate games, and they have abilities that are exclusive to themselves. Nobody can simulate Russell Westbrook, and I don't think anybody can simulate Steph. I think Damian Lillard probably is the closest player we'll see to kind of simulating what Steph does on the floor and how he changes the defense. But nobody can simulate Russell.
What is a defensive key against someone with that kind of explosiveness? How in what way can you limit
Well,
that?
you have to try to limit the easy ones. If you turn it over and he gets 3 or 4 dunks in transition, those are killers. Keep him off the glass. He's one of the best offensive rebounding point guards in the league. If you can cut off penetration, you try to do that. But easier said than done.
Steve, you recalled watching Steph for the first time the other day. Do you remember watching Westbrook in that game?
Same game, sure. Yeah.
You remember them going head to head?
Uh-huh.
What that was
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. Westbrook's college career was really interesting. He didn't play point guard. He was playing with I think Aflalo and Collison and other NBA players, and so I don't think Westbrook really jumped out at that stage when he played against Davidson in Anaheim. And I can't remember if that was his freshman or sophomore year. But Westbrook really, he didn't really explode until he got to the NBA. But in college he was so athletic, but he was sort of lost among a lot of good players. But once he got to the league, then he was able to really showcase what he can do.
Before the second round, you and him are always talking about you should pay attention to the long rebound, especially when they tip it out to the outside. So when it's Western Conference Finals, is there any specific details you should pay attention to when it comes to rebounding?
Well, everybody has to participate. That's the main thing. We showed a lot of clips during the Portland series to our players where the guards were leaking out and they were out at half court and the ball would be tipped to the foul line and we weren't there. You have to have all 5 guys engaged and involved on the glass. And so if you're not getting a body on somebody, you better be in a position to chase the ball down. And that'll be even more important against Oklahoma City because they're probably the best rebounding team in the league.
This is your second year as head coach. It's Billy Donovan's first with the Thunder. How much better of a coach do you think you are this year compared to last year?
I'm not quite sure how to answer that. I do think the more experience you get, the more things you see, the better you get. So I would say I've probably learned a few things since last year, but I don't know if I can answer, give myself a grade or anything like that.
Steve, Klay Thompson is going to speak to us later after you're gone. And I was thinking that not as players, but as personalities on the court and off, he and Draymond Green are almost, to me, as I perceive, exact opposites. Do you see it that way, and could you maybe elucidate that a little bit?
They are total opposites. Draymond is always talking, and Klay rarely speaks. Klay is he just wants to go about his business. Does everything sort of below the radar. The one area where they're really similar is they're both great two-way players. They both play both ends of the floor, and they're, I think, near the top of the league when you talk about the best two-way players. They're right there at the very top with anybody. So it's kind of fun as a coach to have such different personalities, different talents, but the main thing you want is guys who are competitive, who want to win, and who can play both ends, and both of them do that.
When Klay makes a dramatic shot, he doesn't celebrate, as far as I can tell. He walks down the court business as usual. Is that what he Obviously, you're not inside him, but you may have talked to him about it. Is that what he's feeling, or is he jubilant inside, or just business as usual?
No, I think he's jubilant inside. And every once in a while, you see Clay when he gets really hot, and he makes 5 in a row or something. He'll gesture to the crowd to stand up and something like that. But I think Clay I think he loves to play. He loves the game, and I think he has a lot of fun while he's playing. He just doesn't show it that often.
Finally, is he quiet around the team?
Yes, very quiet. He's actually opened up, I think, more. When I took the job, everybody told me he hardly ever said anything. He's got a really dry sense of humor, and he kind of picks his spots to use it and to show it. But when he does, the whole team seems to be laughing, and so he hides a lot of things, I think. But he's a great person, great player, and fun to be around.
Thanks, Steve.
You were asked this earlier, but as a coach, is OKC about the scariest team to play, just given how explosive?
Yeah, because you can do everything perfectly and they can still score. And if they have both those guys going like they were last night, it's especially tough. So you just have to stay with it. You've got to do everything you can on every possession. Stick with the game plan. Don't make a lot of mistakes during the 48 minutes, and understand that they're going to make some great plays, and you got to just keep going, keep playing.
Kind of to add to that, though, not many people expected OKC to be in the Western Conference Finals against you guys. I think a lot of people picked the Spurs. How dangerous is it for a team that maybe has nothing to lose to face them in the Western Conference Finals?
Well, they're coming in with a ton of confidence. But I would argue that they have plenty to lose, just like we do. We both desperately want to get to the finals. We were both considered contenders to win a title. I thought Portland had nothing to lose, just because they really weren't supposed to get this far and to play this well. But I think OKC is just like us. They're a perennial favorite. They're playing very well. We're in the Final Four. The whole thing is, you want to get to the finals, give yourself a chance, and it's a great matchup. And they're a hell of a team, and we're trying to defend our title, and it should be a lot of fun.
You've obviously seen OKC over the years as a broadcaster before you became a coach, and they've had Durant and Westbrook for a long time, but how have they sort of evolved elsewhere in the roster? How are they different now?
I think Steven Adams has really taken another step. He's become one of the best centers in the league. He's playing more. He used to play half the game. Now he's playing 3/4 of the game, and they've figured some things out over the course of the year, different combinations that they like. They experimented with a lot of things. Obviously, it's Billy's first year, so he had to get to know his team. And so in the 3 games that we played them, we saw a lot of different combinations with people like Singler and Morrow and Waiters, and they seem to have settled into a nice groove now, and obviously they're playing at a really high level.
Quietly celebrate not having to face them last year in the first round.
Say that again?
Did you quietly celebrate not having to face them in the first round last year? Yeah.
To be honest, I felt bad for them because they had so many injuries, and they especially Durant it was such a frustrating season for them. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the league, and they're going to be tough no matter where and when you play them. But nobody likes to see injuries, and and then you just play. You play whoever's there, and you don't worry about anything else.
Have you talked to Popovich at all since last night?
Not since last night. We talk a lot during the season, and I'm not going to call him until he wants to call me, and we can, he can. Drown his sorrows first, and I still it's a very strange thing for me to watch the Spurs even to this day, even though it's been 13 years since I retired. But with 3 of those guys being teammates in my last year, and Pop, it's always strange. They're so good and they're so tough to beat, but I can't cheer against them either unless we're playing against them. So it was strange seeing them lose, and they had such a phenomenal regular season, and I think everybody sort of expected them to be there. But Oklahoma City is They are who they are. They are loaded and they're tough and they're playing really well.
Can you do anything to keep Draymond out of technical fouls without taking away from what makes him Draymond?
Well, I had a talk with him the morning of Game 5 after shoot-around. I explained the situation. You have 3 technicals. You get 7. So you've got 3 to play with. He said, I got you, coach. So now he's got 2 to play with. So I think he's timing it. He just wants to go right up to the edge, and then he's going to stop.
Is there any irony at all? We talk about small ball and pace and space all year, and it seems like the Western Conference Finals is now a game of rebounding and big guys and having to play those matchups. Any irony?
I think the small ball stuff is overplayed, really. If you look at our team, we're not small. We're not a small team. We start Bogut, we play Azili. Draymond, if you want to say he's small because he's 6'6", fine, but he doesn't play small. Our backcourt, is often 2 6'7" guys. And when we go to our, small lineup, which is Draymond at the center, we might do that. We might do it 8-10 minutes a game. So 38-40 minutes, we're playing with a very large team. So everybody gets fixated on small ball and all that. We don't really play that small. We shoot a lot of jump shots, but we have a pretty big team, top to bottom. So I think people just get fixated on it too much. The reality is you need size in this age, just like you needed it 20 years ago. You have to be able to protect the rim, challenge shots, get loose balls, and the more long-limbed guys you can have, the better.
There are emotions that this could be it for Tim. Were there any emotions that came with seeing the Spurs lose, and this could be it for Tim?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what Tim's going to do? I have no idea. If it is his last game, I was really happy to see him play so well. I mean, he had a tough series, and then he really looked like himself again last night, and so we'll see what he decides to do. But he'll always be a good friend and somebody I have incredible respect for.
Obviously, KD got injured last season, and from the team couldn't even go to the playoffs. To right now, they even went to the West Conference Finals. Which part they improved the most?
Where did they improve the most? I mean, I just think the biggest thing was the health. When you do have to get lucky in this game, and their health improved, and then they made some changes with the coaching staff, obviously, but I think their front line has evolved. Adams and Cancer, they've evolved together, and they're better now.